Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, damsels and dingbats, to another Chit Chat video, brought to you complete, unscripted, and, well, yeah, unscripted, by me. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Well, at least it feels like it's been a long-ass time. It's actually been a while since I've made a YouTube video. Yes, I have had videos up Tuesdays and Saturdays for a while now, but as you all know, I went home most of the month of June this year to visit with my family back home. And what I did was I recorded a bunch of videos before I left and uploaded them and scheduled them to post while I was gone. And I did so many of those videos, in fact, that I've been home for, hell, it's July 19th now. So I've been surviving off of those videos I made for almost a month now, and I still have quite a few in the queue, but I kind of figured I'd take some time off and just relax and whatnot. This, of course, is before life happened and everything changed. More on that in a minute, but yeah, as you can tell probably by watching those videos, every video that comes out, I sound a little more tired and a little more drug out, and that's just because I was making 4 or 5, sometimes even 6 videos a day, and I didn't realize how exhausting that was going to be until I was halfway through the process. But I tell you what, I was determined to get those videos done so we wouldn't have any more major downtime, and I managed to get it done. So hopefully the video, the content quality didn't suffer too much. If it did, I apologize. I should be getting back to making new content here pretty soon. I'll still be running all of the stuff I have queued up, but I should be making some more stuff here pretty soon. My trip home was it was a good trip home. The flight home started off with them not being able to find my tickets and me almost missing my plane, and then a long ass 8-hour flight to the West Coast, which took forever, not just because it was 8 hours, but because I was stuck in. I was on one of those planes that has 3 seats to the left and to the right of the center aisle, and of course I was stuck in the center seat on one side. And every time I'd start to doze off, I'd have to wake myself up. I'd wake up because I was, I didn't want to end up waking up drooling on some guy's shoulder. And I had an elderly guy off to the left of me, and I had a guy a little bit bigger than me off to the right. And neither waking up on either one of those shoulders was not something I wanted to talk my way out of. So I did a lot of yo-yo nodding off there, and I remember the plane was just getting ready to take off, and I fell asleep. And I woke, so, I snore. I have sleep apnea, really bad sleep apnea. And sometimes I can wake myself up with my snorts, just as you start to snore, you're doing those snorts. Well, I kept doing that and waking myself up. And I heard a guy behind me talking to the gal he was with. He was like, if I start snoring like that, wake my ass up. So needless to say, like I said, it was a long flight. I got there safely, though, and I enjoyed my time with my family. I spent a lot of time with my mom and my dad and my brother and the kids, and, enjoyed my 3 weeks up there. The flight back was a pain in the ass, though, I tell you what. The day I hopped the plane to come back, we had severe thunderstorm warnings. Well, severe thunderstorms in general, along with those warnings in the area. So the plane that was meant to pick me up in Walla Walla, Washington, was an hour late. So, I got there and I was in a hurry to get through security and get my shit checked in, because my experience with most airports is you need to allow for time to find your gate. You need to be there, 20 minutes early for boarding for security reasons and this and that. And I'd never been through the Walla Walla airport, so I was assuming, I had no reason to believe it was going to be any different than normal. So I got in and I visited with my parents there at the airport for a little bit, but I was feeling antsy. Something was telling me I needed to hurry up. So I unnecessarily cut my visit short, and I went and I got through security, and 5 feet past security was this little fishbowl of a room that could hold maybe 30 people, and that's where I sat for the next 2 hours. I couldn't go back out and visit with my family. I mean, they'd left already, but even if they hadn't, there was no way to get back out. Had I realized how quickly I was going to get to where I needed to be, I could have probably stayed and visited with my family for another 45 minutes or so. And so I kind of felt guilty that I rushed through the end of the visit there, but I didn't want to end up missing the plane. So I sat in this fishbowl for close to 2 hours, and the plane finally shows up. We get on the plane, we get airborne, and before you know it, we're at SeaTac. That's, for those of you that don't know, that's the Seattle-Tacoma airport. And unfortunately, since the plane arrived an hour late and we had to fly through those thunderstorms, I ended up getting to SeaTac late. And when we landed, we had to wait on the tarmac for about 20 minutes before, because apparently there was a plane in the gate where we needed to, I don't know what you call it, dock, I guess. And it had broken down, so we had to wait for somebody to come tow it out of the way so we could hook up. And of course, just because I'm on the opposite side of the airport from the terminal that I need to get to fly from Seattle back to Detroit, I got 15 minutes before the plane takes off. For those of you familiar with SeaTac, I landed in Seagate. I had to get to N Gate, which is on the other side of the airport for those of you unfamiliar. And if for those of you familiar with big-ass airports, getting across an airport in 15 minutes is a challenge. And I didn't make it. I was literally 2 minutes. That's 120 seconds after they shut the door and ferried the plane out onto the runway. I managed to get to the gate. And it was the last plane leaving for every airline that night. So I stood at customer service for the next 45 minutes, waiting to see if I could get my tickets redone. And so they gave me some food vouchers, and they gave me a hotel voucher for the night, and they told me my plane was going to be leaving the following day at 7:30, but they didn't know what gate it was going to be at for sure yet. So I needed to check in early to make sure what gate it was going to be. And on the ticket, it said Seagate, which, was, it said N Gate. It was in the same terminal that I was in, that my last plane took off from. I didn't feel like running back across the airport and catching a taxi and going to the freaking hotel and risking oversleeping the following morning, because like I said, I didn't get a lot of sleep on the plane to Seattle, and I didn't get a lot of sleep the night before because I was restless. So I was tired, and I didn't have enough faith that I was going to wake up in time to get back on the taxi, get back to the airport, get back across the airport, and make my plane before, I didn't want to miss it too. So I said, screw it. I'll use these food vouchers, I'll get something to eat, and then I'll just crash out on, one of these benches. And that's what I did. It wasn't too uncomfortable. 7 o'clock rolls around, actually 6:30 rolls around, and they're starting to post the new flight schedule. And just because I find out that the plane that I'm going to be getting on to come home is back in Seagate, where I started from. So I get back across the airport, I find the gate I'm supposed to be leaving from, and, I camp out on one of the chairs. 7 o'clock shows up, no plane. 7:30, 8 o'clock, no plane. By about 9:30, the plane finally shows up, and they start letting us board. And then we sit in the plane for a good 15, 20 minutes, and we find out we don't have a pilot. Nobody knows what happened to the pilot. They never showed up. They were no show. So we had to sit there wait, God knows how long before they had to fly another pilot down from Vancouver. I can't remember exactly where they said, but they had to fly up the pilot in. So we sat there in the plane for a while. But finally we get the pilot and we get airborne, and the 8-hour trip home, I slept the whole way. I didn't care. I got a window seat. I propped up against the side of the plane and just passed out. And it wasn't too bad. I was afraid my luggage wasn't going to be there when I got there, because I didn't know if my luggage made the previous plane and I didn't, or if it came in on the plane I came in on, or if it was going to come in on a later plane. So, I mean, the last time I flew, I had all kinds of problems with my baggage. So, with the way my luck was going, I was expecting to have more this time. Thankfully, I didn't. I got to the baggage claim. My baggage was there. I got the shit, and I called my wife, and I told her, hey, I'm here. You can come pick me up. And I stepped outside, and the area where they allow your drivers to come park and pick you up and then, whatnot, bumper to bumper traffic. It's like 4 lanes, or no, 1, 2, yeah, it's 3 or 4 lanes. And it's just bumper to bumper stopped, like midday freaking, yeah. So I ended up walking a mile away from the airport with my baggage to get somewhere where my wife could actually pick me up and turn around and not have to deal with all that traffic. Needless to say, when I got home, I took a shower and I passed the fuck out on my own bed after being mauled by my dogs. It was good to be home. I miss my family back home still. I love my mom and I love my dad, my brother and the kids. But you know what? I was glad to be back under my own roof. And, it's going to be another year. God allowing the planet to be around that long, before I get to see my family again. But, I got it out of my system for this year. I get home, and I get a letter in the mail stating that I had missed a court date, and I now had a bench warrant out for my arrest. What the fuck? What? I asked my wife, did I get any mail while I was gone? No. Well, what the fuck is this all about? What do I got to bench? Why did I have to go to court in the first place? Now, I'm not going to go into depth on exactly what this was about because, I feel it's personal and it's a whole big subject. And it's nothing big. It's not like I robbed a bank or I killed somebody. They just had a court date. I had to go in and talk to the judge about something. It was insignificant. It wasn't a big deal. But since I missed the court date and I no-showed, of course they wrote a bench warrant. And I've never had a bench warrant before. I had no idea what this was all about. And I'm freaking out. And, man, I swear I thought I was going to jail. The night before I went in, I couldn't sleep. I sat up all night watching YouTube videos on what to expect your first night in jail and what the difference between jail and prison is. And mind you, I've never been through this before. Well, I ended up, Tara took me up, and we, didn't even see the judge, but we went up and got everything taken care of. Like I said, it didn't end up being, it was nothing. It was just some stupid shit, and we got it taken care of. But I tell you what, the stress level I was under, I don't do well with stress at all. I have social anxiety and depression issues. I cannot, I do not have the tools most people have to deal with stress. And I tell you what, I became a raving asshole. And I had to apologize to my wife afterwards and thank her for being so patient with me. But I was scared shitless. I was terrified. And, it turned me into just this super paranoid dick. And I feel so bad about it now. But at the time, man, I was freaking out. But anyway, we got that resolved, and in the long run, our financial situation's changed now. So I've been trying to get, go through all these doctors to do what I needed to do to get my disability, but now it looks like I'm probably going to end up having to go back to work. I don't have time to sit on my butt and wait for these people to get their heads out of their asses. So I'm stressed out about that. I haven't been in the workforce in like 6 years now, and it's been even longer than that since I've had to work with people. The last job I worked, I actually drove combine. I did that for 4 years, and that's just you, the machine, in the field, and you don't got to worry about dealing with a lot of people. So like I said, I've got the social anxiety. It makes it difficult for me to deal with people. So I'm kind of stressed out about that, but it is what it is. The finances dictate it's time to make a change. So I'm probably, I'm still going to make YouTube videos as often as I can. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have nearly the free time that I used to be able to sit down and make as many as I have. So be aware of that. I'll make more videos in the future to kind of keep you apprised and keep you up to date as to what's going on with that. But I don't intend to quit making YouTube videos entirely. I enjoy doing this. I don't have a lot of people subscribed. I mean, those of you that I do have, I appreciate you. Don't get it mixed up. But it's not like I have 1 million subscribers and I'm actually doing YouTube for a living. So I have to start focusing on the greenbacks here, yo. But anyway, I haven't done a lot of role-playing lately either. Have not done any online role-playing whatsoever in God knows how long. Just haven't had the time for it, and quite honestly, I haven't had the greatest track record with, luck when it comes to running the games. Either I've got shit going on and I have to cancel, or things go, real life happens with my players, or, tech issues. Pretty much anything that can happen has happened to kill my online gaming experiences. And it just left a foul taste in my mouth. So I retired from that. I do still have the tabletop group, but we took before I went home to visit with my family, we took a break. And we're still technically on break. I think we're going to probably pick up again probably sometime this fall. That way we don't have to worry about interrupting anyone's summer vacation plans and whatnot. Of course, once I get back to work, whether it be part-time or full-time, whatever I find, that'll dictate what our new schedule is. But I'm definitely looking forward to getting back into the gaming. It has been too long. Now, I don't know what I'm going to run. I know there's a lot of interest at the table for me to run them on the Everdark campaign that I spent 6 months writing. But at the same time, I kind of wrote that for a specific group of people. And, I guess running it for the tabletop group will determine if it's good enough. If I can run, if I wrote it for one group and I can run another group on it, that means there's a good chance that if I ever go to get it published, it can be run with any group. If I just wrote it for one group and it couldn't be run with for anybody else, that's kind of pointless, honestly. So I just feel weird, but it's either that or spend the next 6 months of time I don't have writing another campaign, and let's face it, I don't feel like it, so blah. But anywho, I'm still working on the Dungeon Master Project videos. Honestly, I haven't done any more work on that at all. Like I said, I'm at that point where in the process of writing, my technique gets a little undefined. It's kind of like it's just something I do, and I'm really having difficulty figuring out how to put it into words that are clear enough that they can be used as instructions for somebody trying to follow or copy my method. So, I haven't taken the time. I haven't really, up until now, had the time to really sit down and work on that. I've got a little bit of time now, and once I get the gumption up to go over the stuff that I've already done for the series to kind of remind myself where I left off, then maybe I'll try working on that again. But for now, I'm just kind of trying to get back into trying to incorporate my old schedule with my new patterns, stuff that needs to be done. Been doing a lot of work outside and stuff like that, so trying to be as productive as possible, trying to get some strength back into my back. That way when I do go back to work, I can work for more than a couple hours a day, 1 or 2 days a week. Going through a lot of my old jewelry stuff and thinking about selling a bunch of that off. I'd like to give the jewelry business I did back in the day another go, but unfortunately that's one of those scenarios you need money to make money. I need money to post the stuff online, and then when it sells, to ship it out. And I'm thinking about getting out of the actual jewelry creation portion of the business. I still have a shitload of jewelry I can sell, and I probably will still make jewelry in the future because I enjoy doing it. But my vision, like I said in a last video or last Chit Chat or whatever it was, I mentioned that my vision's not quite what it used to be anymore. So until I can come up with the money to get, one of those lit magnifying glasses, or, until my vision spontaneously gets better, I'm kind of on the fence on the whole making jewelry bit. But I've been thinking about getting into the supply end, buying and selling jewelry components like the beads and the findings and the wires and the chains and all of that. I think I could probably make a little more money selling the components than actually the finished product. I mean, I'll probably try to sell the finished product too, but I spent a couple of years trying to make a living selling my jewelry, and even though I've had everyone tell me my jewelry is nice, it's a completely different story. It's easy to find people who will pay you compliments. It's a lot harder to find people who will pay you money. But anyway, that's pretty much what's been going on here. Everyone's well. Tara's still working her butt off. The dogs are still chewing their butts off. Yeah. So that's been it's probably gonna wrap us up for this episode. Like I said, I just wanted to touch bases and say hi to everybody. We're up to 41 subscribers, y'all. That's freaking outstanding, considering that I only know about half a dozen of you in real life. The rest of you, even though I don't know you personally, I still consider you family. I still consider you a damsel or a dingbat. And I thank you so much for subscribing and liking. And hey, who knows, maybe one of these days I'll make videos of good enough quality and get enough of you guys watching. Maybe I could just go to work as a YouTuber. Not that I'll ever be the next Markiplier or PewDiePie or any of that, but hey, I can dream, right? Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up for now. And I will talk to you in the next video, whichever that happens to be. Now, like I said, keep in mind, I got a lot of videos that are still coming out that I recorded like 2 months ago. So, I'm going to sound tired. It's going to be old information, when I'm talking about crap. But, I made them. I figured I'll post them up and let you see them. But I will be making new content to post up. I'll probably be getting the newer stuff up end of August, early September. But until then, I'll still be airing the older videos Tuesdays and Saturdays. So hope you enjoy. If you have any ideas for videos that you would like me to try to make, things you'd like to hear me talk about, games you'd like to see me try to play, don't hesitate to leave a comment and let me know. I'm always up for, new experiences with games, especially free games, since I don't have a lot of the game budget right now. But definitely willing to give it a shot. So just feel free to leave a comment. If you hit that like button, if you wouldn't mind, it does me a world of good. Makes me feel better about myself. And If you haven't subscribed, feel free to do so. That helps too. So, until next time, I've been your host, DM Renavion, saying, stay safe and have fun. I'm out.